speaking of the NFL, it brings us to the game of the week in football.
Yeah. No doubt.
I think something like 96% of the country is going to get a chance to see
how cool
the Lions and the Packers. Yep. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi will have the call. 4:25 kickoff on Fox.
America's game of the week.
It absolutely is. Couple of injuries for the Lions. Josh Paschal out. That is absolutely huge. Malcolm Rodriguez is also out. Dan Campbell spoke about that earlier today.
No, there's not. He'll be out. All right, he and Malcolm will both be out. But no, nothing long-term, which is great news, and we're hopeful we'll get him back.
All right, so there's Dan Campbell saying who is out. Also, when you look at the other side of things, the Lions have been just absolutely embarrassing teams. Xavier McKinney of the Packers, he does not want to get embarrassed by Detroit. He does not think they're going to get embarrassed by Detroit. Here's what he had to say. Take a look at the Packers side of things, Xavier McKinney.
In my opinion, I think they try to embarrass people. And I think, this organization and the players we have in here, they don't really take that, lightly. And we know, that's what they're going to come here and try to do. So, our job is to, like I said again, make sure that we're on our keys and make sure that, everybody has disciplined eyes and still, going out there and playing fast. But we know that's the game that they like to get into. And so for us, we just got to, do what we do, and we'll be all right. It's a big game for us. Obviously, they got a really good team. We got a really good team. And, this is for, that number one spot. So it's going to be a big game, and we understand that. We know, what comes behind this game. So, we just preparing, man. We getting ready.
Are the Lions the bullies on the block these days?
They are.
It seemed like.
Ain't that something? Being a punching bag for 70 years.
And by the way, they haven't won anything yet.
No.
They haven't won an NFC championship.
No.
They haven't won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Nope. Everyone has got it out for them now. We all said that. Teams are going to be looking at it. Now you got a Packers team that's used to being in the playoffs, used to going to championship games. And then you got the Lions. Who are these guys? They beat us 2 times in a row here at Lambeau Field. They're going to come in with their all whites again. We're going to play them at Lambeau. They want to beat the Lions so bad, this team. They want to take control. You don't think Matt LaFleur is reminding them, look what we did to them on Thanksgiving in their own building. We got them here at Lambeau. This is a very winnable game for us. I'm talking about if I'm Matt LaFleur. The Lions are the bad boy. They are not liked. And when you put 50 up against the Cowboys and follow it up with 50 against the Titans, put up 30 against the Vikings, all of a sudden people start looking at you like, all right, these guys want to play that game? They want to put receivers? They want to put an offensive lineman as receivers? They want a trick play? All right, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go, Manolo.
This is a very important game for the Green Bay Packers, and I'll tell you why. As of now, they can still find an excuse in why the Detroit Lions are kings of the North. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, it was the end of his career. We had to get our quarterback going, Jordan Love. Once we got him going, look what happened last year when we played the Detroit Lions. We blew them out or we beat them up. If they win this game, they can say, we just had a quick reset. We truly are still kings of the North. We're not worried about the Lions. But they get beat yet again at home, and they're one of the one teams in the league that can go back and forth with the Lions. If they lose, I think it destroys their mental as it relates to this division, as it relates to this rivalry. This is a very important game for Matt LaFleur's, his team, and the Green Bay Packers as it relates to this division and the rivalry. If they lose that game, now they have to realize, damn, Detroit really is the kings of the North, and now we're chasing them. Right now, they're like, well, we had Aaron. It was the end. We got Jordan. We had to get him set up. We had to get him situated. They win now, it's like, we have to concede.
You got to acknowledge
Jordan Love looks like he is playing. He's practicing. He's not 100%. He's got his injuries. He got injured the first week. Then he pulls, a quad or a hamstring. He's playing. You could count on Jordan Love playing.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 straight days of practice for Jordan Love. So that's a really good indicator that young man is going to play. And I think in a game like this, you do want that.
Of course.
I even as a Lions fan, you want the Lions to win, but I want the Lions to have center stage in the NFL this week, and I want Jordan Love to play. there is no mistaking what's going to happen on the field. Malik Willis wins, and you get that game. Great, obviously, a win is a win. Nobody's going to say it didn't matter. But if you win in Green Bay with Jordan Love in front of the entire country watching that, I think that really kind of sets the table for the rest of the season now, is in terms of how people view you. And not only that, but I think he's going to be limited. Jordan Love too.
But think about it. If you're him, you're like, hey, I don't have Aiden Hutchinson chasing me around. Put me in.
Right.
Who's going to come after me?
No Aiden Hutchinson, no Marcus Davenport, no Josh Pascal.
Who's coming after me?
So that is absolutely something you have to consider. And you talk about a big game. Dan Campbell talked about that too. I want to play this for you now, but talking about a big game, if we're almost halfway through the season. The Lions essentially have a 2-game lead on Minnesota, and they would essentially have a 3-game lead on Green Bay if they win this week. If not, they're tied. Here's Dan Campbell.
No, I mean, this never gets old. Like, this is the good stuff, man, and this is the good stuff. And like I say, we got 2 really good teams, man, fighting for the division, and it's on the road, and it just everything about it is it's the ultimate competition, and the only thing better is when you start hitting the playoffs. But these type of games are what it's about. So
these are the type of games that make you ready for the playoffs. I'll give you an example. These are the rivals, right? We can admit that in this division, the NFC North, Tom Mazaway, it's Green Bay and Detroit, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Same thing when I was with the AFC East and I was with the Jets. It is the Jets and it was the Patriots at that time. We played them. It was always playoff intensity. It always came down to the last snap. It always came down to every single play. We beat them the first time we played them that year in 2010. They beat us the next time. We talk about them. It was a beatdown. But you understand who those teams are. You understand who those guys are in the moment. You play against them. Sometimes when you lose that you're the better team. You just got to correct some things. Sometimes when you play each other, you're light years apart, so you got to get there. I think for the Detroit Lions, as well as the Green Bay Packers, this is going to be the test of where they truly are, because whoever wins this game, you got to say that they are the number 1 team in the NFL, just being honest.
Number 1 team in the NFL, and that could be up for debate. I'd agree with you on that. Absolutely. Whoever wins this game.
15 Patrick Mahomes, I get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but now.
And almost more important is what's tangible. What's tangible, Braylon, is that you will get home field advantage. You will be the leader in the clubhouse for home field advantage. If you're Detroit and you don't want to go back to Green Bay in January, win this game.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to Green Bay, Wisconsin in late January with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line, win this game. That is what's on the line here. I truly believe the winner of this football game will host the NFC Championship game. The winner of this game will host the NFC Championship game.
You don't know how right you are. When we lost to the Patriots that year, we had to go to New England in the second round of the playoffs. It was like Game 6 for the going-to-work Pistons in 2005. What happened? They went down to San Antonio. They had to win that game because Big Shot Bob in Game 5, they gave everything they did in Game 6. At the end of Game 7, they retired. Ryan and mine, that's exactly what happened. When we played the Patriots, we beat them. We went to Foxborough. As you know, I scored a touchdown. We beat them. We gave everything we had in terms of preparation, in terms of energy, in terms of excitement, in terms of everything.
And that's your bitter enemy.
100%. When we got to the next round, when we played the Steelers weren't that good that year. And you saw that in the Super Bowl because they lost. We didn't have anything left. We didn't have anything left as a team, and that's not an excuse, but that's a real deal. You don't want to be in that position to where you're giving everything, and now you got to go to Green Bay to play that game, and then the next game is the NFC Championships or the Super Bowl. You don't want to have to give everything. So, yeah, it's tough. We gave everything we had because we lost in the regular season and we had to go to Foxborough.
Listen, I believe this is a very important game, but there's a lot more season left, and you get them one more time. So you don't know what's going to happen after this week. You heard Wayne Larrivee yesterday, the longtime voice of the Packers. He's like, the Lions are so good right now, but will they be as good at the end of the year? Well, we certainly think they will because we think they're the best team. But you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who else gets injured. And you don't know the other teams. their injuries. So as much as I want to win this game, I'm not calling this a must-win. I'm not yet.
You got to say it is, though, because you own the tiebreaker over the Minnesota Vikings and the Packers if you win this game.
But you get them again, Kenny.
I understand that, but this would go a long way in you winning the North right here this week.
Absolutely.
Just gives you a little bit of breathing
you
room.
can plant your flag.
It gives you a long rope to. Yeah. It gives you a long rope to maybe drop a game because of an injury or something like that. It gives you a long leash to have a misstep down the road. And I do agree with Wayne Larrivee on one aspect when it comes to the idealistic view of, hey, you're playing so good now, but wouldn't you rather play this good at the end of the year and not so? I understand that. But I think because the Lions have been together for so long, that is why they're so good now. That is why they're so good early in the season. Nobody's guessing what they have to do. Nobody's learning what they have to do. Every single player on that field knows exactly what the assignment is, knows exactly what the expectation is, knows exactly when they're going to play, when they're not going to play, what packages. I mean, there is no guesswork. There is nothing to learn. They have been together so long. They just got it a lot quicker than a lot of other teams get it.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about the situation is you say be so good now versus be so good late. The Detroit Lions aren't even the best versions of themselves.
Yes. It took them 4 weeks to get going.
100% say it again. It took them a while to figure out how are we going to implement this running game mixed in with Jameson Williams. Now we got Tim Patrick. Now we got to get him instituted into the offense. Now we got new right guard. So it took them a while to get going, and now they're starting to find that rhythm. Meanwhile, Jameson Williams is still not fully integrated into the system. And then you look at the defensive side of the ball. Defenses played about as well as they can. They don't have Aiden. You got young cornerbacks that are trying to learn the game. You got new linebackers. So they're going to be a much better version of themselves when they play again at the end of the year. So two things can be true. If they lost, you don't want them to lose, but they lose, they won't be the same team in December, in January. So that is something to pull from. They're still figuring this out. As good as they've played, which sounds crazy, still figuring it out.
I'm just looking at the track, man. And obviously, is it a must-win game? No, it's not. They can absolutely, all their goals are still in front of them. I'm just talking about the road ahead if you win this game. And I do believe an easier road matters. An easier road, at Houston, against Chicago, stuff like that. You play Chicago a couple of times, maybe Caleb gets you, and it doesn't hurt you as much. Just doesn't hurt you as much. Maybe
you want to win this game because you don't want to put that record of haven't lost 2 road games in a row, 2 games in a row for almost 2 years now. You go to Houston next week, and they lost to the Jets yesterday, but they weren't home. They'll be home next week, and it might be healthier.
That's a winnable
game. It's winnable. Every game the Lions play is winnable.
Now.
That team is done.
Houston, I agree.
You think they done?
I agree with
Braylon. Why do you say that?
I agree with you.
First of all,
100%.
Ryan, when they were healthy, what was I saying? I said, this does not look like the same Houston Texans. They're trying to figure it out. I've been saying it. Now you lose Nico Collins. Then they definitely didn't look like the same Texas team. They lose to the Green Bay Packers.
Indianapolis is winning that division.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. Then they lose 2 of their starting offensive linemen. Maz, I want this team to be good. I like the Texans story. I like the coach. I like everything. It just isn't what it is. It's not in the cards for him this year.
C.J. Stroud, to me, looks like he is a rock-solid quarterback.
Yes.
I was very impressed with him.
He's been
on the run.
You can be a diamond. You can be a diamond-style quarterback. If you don't have offensive linemen, and you're giving up 8 sacks a game, Maz, there's only so much a quarterback can do. Yeah.
He had no time last night.
None.
Nobody got any separation. Tank Dell was forced to be a number 1 receiver. I like Tank Dell, but he was completely out of place. Tank Dell is a really good number 3 receiver.
Yeah.
When you force that number 3 man on any team to be a number 1, it just doesn't look good. Now the Lions get a little bit of a schedule break next week because Nico Collins could come back after next week. Yeah. So they miss him by at least 1 game.
Who ever thought that Nico Collins would be the guy he is turning out to be?
He did. That's why he sat out at Michigan that senior year.
Isn't that something?
Nico Collins, so I obviously close relationship because University of Michigan. I watch all the wide receivers, especially when I get the phone calls, Ryan. Hey, Braylon, We got one up here that could be the next you.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear the next you, I'm like, all right, now I got to watch with a keen
Right.
eye. It's never true. It's never true.
Just being real.
I'm being real. It's never true. Nico Collins was the one that I watched. I said, I like this kid. I said, if they can get him some player development, give him a quarterback, get him the ball. So Nico Collins is nice. And when he set out, I didn't have a problem with it because I said, you know what, this isn't the team that's going to expand his draft. He set out, he's a nice wide receiver, and he's gotten better. I mean, he was the only one that I kind of was like, I could see it. And they just never had a quarterback and never had an offensive line. But he's nice. Yeah. He's nice.
Guys, let me talk about the weather situation. I don't know, did you see the video of Jordan Love practicing yesterday?
Yeah.
Did you notice something in the video?
It was a little wet.
Yeah, it was
Snow.
Snow. Wow.
It was snowing.
It snowed in Minnesota, so it makes sense.
In Green Bay.
Minnesota.
Will we have some precipitation on Sunday? Here's the head coach, Dan Campbell.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think we're very comfortable playing in whatever the elements are, honestly. You know, our quarterbacks played pretty good. You know, I feel like we've taken care of the football, although that's always going to be an emphasis, man. Wet ball, you know, those things are going to come up because it's going to be a little more slick. And then focusing on catching the football, we'll have the high winds with the water. And so all of those become a factor. But the great news is both teams play with it, you know. You're both on the same area under the same conditions. And so we'll be fine. But, no, I don't feel like we need to prove something with it. I think we're prepared. We're going to be prepared for it.
Just a good old-fashioned Lambeau Sunday.
Let's get dirty.
Yeah.
Let's get dirty.
They're all white.
Pause.
Let's get
The
dirty.
wet tundra.
Let's get dirty.
Braylon, playing
Pause.
in rain, who's the advantage? If it does rain, where's the advantage?
Detroit Lions because it's a running game. Like, that's one. I hated playing in the rain. I didn't mind snow. Snow doesn't stick to the gloves, so it's fine. Rain, you know what time it is. You switch to leather gloves and you get ready to block.
Sonic and Knuckles.
It comes with the territory, and they do it well. I mean, you got a bruiser. Like, we'll talk about parlays, and everybody in this room pretty much is hot. But just quick, if I was a betting man, bet Dave Montgomery over 100 yards and betting for 2 touchdowns. Like, it's going to be that type of game because they want to slow it up for the Green Bay Packers. They want to force the running game. They want to beat them up, beat them down. I think it's that type of game.
And I'm glad you brought up the run game because I was looking through the Packers depth chart earlier on the morning show, and I didn't realize how banged up they actually are. You're looking at the defensive end, Kenny Clark, questionable. Devontae Wyatt, questionable. Jair Alexander, questionable. Evan Williams, questionable. That's 4 key pieces on their defense. And on the offensive end, we all know about Jordan Love, but Josh Jacobs, questionable. Rasheed Walker, questionable. Elton Jenkins, questionable. And Josh Myers, their center, questionable. That's the whole left side of their offensive line, folks. So not to say that these guys won't play, but they will be hampered. So this is a very, very winnable game for the Lions, and you hope that they can utilize the run game and go get that
Yeah,
done.
I'm going to do you a favor and tell you, like, we're in week 8, but everybody's hurt.
No, true,
And
true,
everybody
true.
has to fill out that
Questionable
questionnaire.
means we're playing.
Questionable means
No, I'm
we
not
have
saying
to
they won't
say
play,
this.
but
I think he's just saying, like, they're banged
they're
up.
banged up.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're banged
and
up.
a lot more players than we realize. are banged up.
Absolutely.
Do that with the Lions.
No, big facts, big facts.